All right, hi, good morning, everybody. Hope everyone got their coffees. Hope everyone is ready for our first panel of the day. What we're discussing today, right now, is the AI in business with real case studies, real strategies. And I'm very happy to be on stage with a lot of esteemed guests with us today. So my name is Jackie. I'm from Lead Sourcing. What we do at Lead Sourcing is we help companies provide B2B growth with automation and AI. So we're actually a very young company. We launched our flagship products in March of this year, and currently we provide the service to about 932 B2B businesses looking for ways to generate more sales, more revenue with AI. So that's my take on AI as well. I believe it's a great tool for improving sales and marketing efficiencies. I'm going to start introducing our speakers, or it's more like I'm going to ask our speakers to introduce themselves. So I'm going to start with Og, if you want to take this over.
All right, is this thing on? Okay. My name's Augustine. Just a point of trivia for you guys. If you decide to drive here, it's a big pain in the ass. I came here with my buddy Wilson, 50-something dollars per hour, and don't do it. I worked in enterprise software for many years, starting doing tech support and then consulting and then finally architecture. Then I started to build something about the I Ching, which I call Tech Noir I Ching. It's called the 8-Bit Oracle. I have some challenges with monetization, so I'm going to need some help from Jackie here. I've also done some freelancing. So most recently, I am building a content engine for a quantum Bitcoin startup that's using reasoning. So I think that's a trend that we will see more in the future. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Og. And then we have Hannes, who I also think has some interesting news to share with the group today.
Thank you, thank you. Hello, everyone. Can I get a hands here who are actually from Hong Kong? There you go. All right. Okay. I'm actually Hannes. So I've been in Hong Kong for 9 years. I love this place. I love Hong Kong, and I love the food here. So what we do, actually, I'm a founder for Reinvent IP. Actually, we have just rebranded ourselves, and that's one of the announcements that I've announced on LinkedIn and my social media. What we do here in the AI space, think about we are like Moody's, but for IP risk infringement. So we detect, we score, we protect that as well with underwriters. And this is why I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Hannes. And we're very happy to have that news come out on this stage, first thing in the morning. Moving quickly on to Chris.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you here. So I'm Chris, founder of Zappy Capital. So starting since 2012, we used to do late-stage pre-IPO deals in China. And then during COVID and after COVID, we focused on startup investments in Southeast Asia. And then in recent years, we start doing roll-up of SMEs, meaning that we acquire a group of SMEs, and we take maturity stake in them, and then we use AI during our PMI, we call it post-merger integration stage, to help them to improve their efficiency and thus increase my portfolio returns. So we use whatever AI tools available out there to help our portfolio companies to basically revamp their operations and business model. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. And of course, last but not least, we have Armin.
Thank you very much. My name is Arman. I'm founder of Buffalo. We are an AI-powered SaaS for SMBs. We technically help businesses create social media content in 59 seconds. And that's the very short answer that I could give.
That is really, really short and quick. So essentially, what we are going to have on stage today is a mix. We have from investors to strategists to content people to builders and myself, a SaaS operator. We're going to jump right on in. We have three main questions, and maybe afterwards, if there are questions from the audience, we can take some of those as well. The first question focusing on the path to actual value. My question to the group, I started with Og this time. I'm going to start with Chris this time, if you guys don't mind. So I really want to know, how have AI-powered solutions How do you use to unlock new revenue, solve persistent business problems? How do you guys go about doing that at ZB Capital?
Okay, so let's first talk about revenue. So when we acquire a group of companies and then when we own them, first of all, it's really hard to replace the sales and marketing people. Okay, we need humans to do the sales and marketing in person. So it's hard to use AI agents to do those in-person sales. So instead, we use AI tools to take away those like boring admin stuff from them. So the salespeople will have more time to do this sales activities. So that will increase the revenue like easily. And then in the middle office and back office, since now we own, like, for example, we own a couple companies in the IT service area, now I can use whatever AI tools are out there to actually take over the middle and back office activities. So we actually need less people. Okay, so in the past, for example, in the past, you got 10 companies operating independently, then you need 10 accountants, right? Now, we group the 10 companies together because we own them, we package them. Now we only need 2 to 3 accountants, and the rest can be done by AI agents. So effectively, I saved 7 accountant salaries. So better like a revenue efficiency and then lower cost, then that translates into my better portfolio return. So it's not like a rocket science. It's really easy to implement. Okay, but the problem is we need humans to buy into the AI thing, because a lot of them they resist or they don't want to try new things. So that's the main problem for a lot of SMEs right now.
Very, very interesting. Essentially, operational efficiencies across the board, and considering you guys have a lot of portfolio companies, I'm sure that's going to be very easy to execute. Now for reInvent, how do you guys do it? How do you guys use AI to improve business revenue, improve business problems?
Thank you for that, Jackie. So, seconded to what Chris also mentioned, our product, IP Signals, so we are an early stage venture, right? What we're building here across the whole entire operations, sales, leads generation, even social media are being automated on multi-agent frameworks. So what it means here is that how we structure the agents in our team are like how you have a manager and supervisor and workers working underneath it, because there's agents and sub-agents relationship. Based on this, our product, IP Signals, use the likes of multi-agent, utilizing MPC, which is multi-protocol context. Think about, if you don't know what MPC is more like air controller. It controls the traffic of how different agents can come in and consume your API or consume your tasks. So it allows other AI agents to come into our ecosystem, because our product essentially wants to understand what's the risk of infringement of your IP assets that can happen. So this is why we're building something which is called Open IP MPC platform. So IP jurisdiction basis, work together with AI agents. It has increased a lot of from efficiency, operations, and the runtime itself, less than minutes. So this is why I would like to encourage people to also look into AI.
So in my very long marketing career, I've spent a lot of time with brand marketing, and brand protection has always been a major risk. So it's lovely what you guys are.
Thank you.
Yeah. So quickly moving on to Og.
Oh,
Do you wanna-
thank you. Yeah. Well, tricky question for me, because 8-Bit Oracle's pre-revenue. But I can tell you a story about how I used AI to upskill. I was a back-end engineer, and 8-Bit Oracle is a B2C site with a matrix theme and all that, so I had to teach myself front-end development. And 2 years ago, the AI tools were much more basic. It was one step above Stack Overflow, basically, right? So you would chat with the AI, it would tell you the answer of what to do, and then you'd insert it yourself. And then there was an evolution of how advanced these tools can perform. They're agentic, they loop, and they modify multiple files. So I had to teach myself front-end development, and then it's something that I would have never attempted before AI, actually. So in that sense, that's my story. Yeah.
Actually, I think this brings a very important issue up to light, which is the fact that AI is helping companies be able to work with fewer staff. At the same time, it's allowing people like upskill in other areas, which is why it's actually a very golden opportunity to be starting your own small and medium-sized business. It is now the time where you can actually do that with fewer resources. That's Sohan, quickly moving over to you. How do you normally use AI to solve business challenges or increase revenue?
Of course, thank you. For us, it was, when we started, actually, it was a little bit of a challenge because we wanted to actually empower AI to create social media content. But also at the same time, we wanted to, what we wanted to do was not something cliche, like social media content or ads for companies, not something like that, because there's a lot of, tools that it could do that very fast. But social media was about, creating something that follows the trends, interacts with customers, interacts with the audience, does the, a pretty good hook in the first that is, school stopping. A lot of visual hooks should have happened in the process. And also these things would change with the every week or every 2 weeks because the trends would change, and it was very hard to us. So what actually we came up with to just make sure that AI can actually create something that is valuable and also scroll stopping enough and takes catches the audience attention for long enough time, 5 seconds, 3 seconds. That would be enough time on social media to just keep someone in to watch a little bit longer. What we had to do was to make sure that our AI model goes back to check the trends all the time and puts it in a database, makes it like a vector embedding into the vector embedding database, and then through that we just were at the beginning. We had an AI model, Buffalo AI model, that we could actually start to ask questions. And it was only the beginning of, creating something for social media. From there, we had multiple also challenges with visuals that we had to create, with the videos that we had to create, with all the ADHD stuff that we should put on the social media to just keep the attention attention span for long enough. And also definitely the multi-context stuff, because on social media you couldn't only put the text in, it should be video, it should be images, any sort of media could be input and it could be output. So it was pretty much of a challenge, and when we started with a chat-based platform, chat-based environment, and it didn't actually connect with users. The way that we adjusted it, optimize it, just to go back to the smaller tools that users could actually interact with an AI agent like the others, that actually is created and fine-tuned for the specific action, to do that as fast as possible, and then it was the time that we could get some result that it was useful enough.
This conversation brings me back to my time at ExpressVPN, where I led growth for their markets. What we actually had for a B2C product was a sales team numbering in the hundreds, marketers numbering in the hundreds. My own department in organic, we had 110 sales and marketers that I had to manage, and just managing them is really hard. So what we hear now is AI, it brings efficiencies. It creates hooks that can generate better content for social media. It helps managers upskill themselves and improves their brand protection. So quickly moving onwards, I think we've talked a lot about what AI actually can do for us. A problem that we are solving at Lead Sourcing is, how do we do sales and marketing automation in the AI era? Because the problem that you actually see a lot now is there's a lot of noise. A lot of people who are getting flooded with content. It's democratizing content, yes, but what you actually don't see is how do you actually solve the issues that arises? There's too much spam. There's too much things happening. At Lead Sourcing, we look into intent signals and how to qualify the leads better with AI. So I'm going to go around the panel asking everyone, what kind of hurdles do you have to solve when you're adopting AI? Let's start with you this time, Sohan.
Let me take a second on this because that would put me in a better position to wrap up my mind.
Sorry.
Don't worry. Yeah, I didn't expect that because it just came back to me. I expected to start from there.
Let me go back to that.
That works. That works for me.
Sorry about that. I had to switch directions. Let me going back to Chris. We actually kind of discussed this during our pre-panel call, but what is the biggest hurdle that you guys face and what kind of challenges you guys face when you're trying to implement AI?
Okay, so as I mentioned before, for us, the biggest challenge in rolling out AI solutions is human resistance. And I don't blame that because it's normal, because people are afraid of losing the jobs. This is the reality. And think about it, like they may be like in their late 30s or 40s, or even like a few more years later, they're about to retire. So now, after the new shareholders or investors come in, we push all these like AI agentic framework to work. We promote automations, etc., etc. They're not thinking like how all these AI solutions will benefit the company. Most of the time, this is not the first thing on their mind. They will think about, oh no, am I going to be replaced? Like, am I going to lose my job? And then they will start to tell their like supervisors or owners, or tell us, the new shareholders or investors, that hey, these solutions don't work. You know what? Our businesses don't run this way. We don't need that kind of technologies. Like we humans can do all this efficiently and effectively. Blah 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 blah. Right? So okay, this is the problem. So our solution is quite simple. Like I would say, first of all, how about this? Imagine that in the past, you are working under a very traditional management style, and you have to stay in the office until 6:30 p.m. no matter what. No matter you have things to do or not, you have to stay in the office until 6:30. So now let's try our new solutions, like all the automations, etc. And if you can get your things done like by 4 p.m., feel free to go at 4:30. I don't care, as long as you get the things done. That's all I need. I don't need you to be here if your soul is not here, right? So, like, go and pick up your kids, whatever. Like, just get things done. Then they will start. Okay, let's give it a try. And that's my first solution. My second solution is I'll give them a time period to a transition period. I'll try to empower them. Like, okay, if you don't know about AI, like we know Andrew Ng, right? So I'll just buy all the like annual VIP subscription at Coursera and have them to take all the courses they need to take to learn about AI. Like it's easy, right? And I'll try to teach them to use it. So I'll give them an empowerment period of about 12 months. So if they still resist after a period of, let's say, 12 months, then too bad. Business is business, then I have to let you go. But at least I'll try to tell them that, okay, AI, all the AI tools here are here to make your life better, enrich your life, so you can leave office at 4:30. Or if you like staying, like you like to leave office at 7 p.m., fine. Maybe you can come in at 11 a.m. You don't have to like get stuck in the MTR during the rush hour, right? So one way or another. So I try to enrich their lives first, and then at the same time empower them. So that's my solution.
Very, very good approach. I think a lot of people are worried about the loss of jobs. What they don't realize is actually the creation of new jobs empowered by AIs, increased responsibilities younger in their careers, because technical competence becomes slightly less important when you can check your information very quickly. Moving on to you, Hannes. How are you guys overcoming the AI challenges that you guys face?
Well, I second to what Chris actually mentioned on human adoption. For us, we have a very young team. So our teams are, I encourage them to actually learn with AI. Like our social media manager, for instance, I've asked him to train with my devs as well as other courses on how to actually automate our social media when it comes to leads, content, and sales. So he is working alongside that to upskill himself. I want everyone here to feel comfortable with AI because AI, in a way, yes, if you learn how to work with AI, you don't really need to be technical these days. You can always just know how to prompt. A lot of new work like prompt engineering, even the likes of looking at lasing between building. Like, of course, if you're a developer, you have to be tech on Python, machine learning, but that's not what all of you here, I presume. So for us, utilizing AI, one of the challenges is, of course, human adoption. The other part is, because we are building an AI product, is also about the GPU computation, which is the storage. That is huge. Every time you query, you generate a request, it requires a huge amount of computation and storage. So with this, that's why I think there's a lot of data center being built, and as well as a lot of companies like Alibaba, AWS, Google Cloud are looking to help companies who wants to build their SLM, small language model, or LLM in this phase. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Very, very insightful statements. Quickly bringing on to Og.
Oh, thanks, Jackie. I'm going to approach this question top down and bottom up. So for me, top down, it's about mindset, right? There's anxiety. I have even my 12-year-old daughter, she's worried about what are we going to do? I can't use AI, but I need to use AI to get ahead, and so on and so forth. So I find the I Ching actually quite useful for gaining perspective on how to deal with changing situations. So maintain your curiosity, maintain resilience, and have a mindset of learning and curiosity. I think that's very important. And then for bottom up, as a guy that has to type on a keyboard and stuff, I find the AI tools are very eager to do things. So you have to rein them in. Andre Karpathy calls them eager dogs. They're like dogs on a leash. You need to always pull them back. And so what I found while building my recent project in 8-Bit Oracle is, actually more recently when they've become more agentic, is they actually go off and generate a lot of code. And a lot of times, since you can build so quickly, you can actually go down a path that might not be optimal quite far. And then you sort of have to go back and rip that code out. I know Alexander's probably run into this, fellow AI Tinkers member. And so, top down, it's mindset. Bottom up, it's controlling what it generates and managing it and curating it properly. Thanks.
Actually, I think you've highlighted a very important point. A lot of people now talk about vibe coding, being able to develop without actually knowing how to. I tend to do that a lot. I vibe code a lot. But every time I vibe code something and it starts working, it stops working when a second person uses the same thing. It does not. It accounts for me asking it to do that and serving my needs. But what vibe coding, it doesn't actually replace the humans that are actually needed. Essentially, we still need a human to oversee what's going on. I'm wondering if that's also the case at Bubble. What kind of business resistance or hurdles do you have to come when it comes to adopting AI, Sohan?
Of course, of course. Thank you. The reason that it took me longer to answer to your question was that because you were asking about sales and how do we approach sales and get help from AI to just make it better and adjust it and optimize it. And it was actually for us, it was a double-sided knife. I believe it is for every business, specifically if you're targeting small and medium-sized enterprises, small and medium-sized businesses, because it is every business that is small, that is medium-sized, the only thing that the business should actually, maybe at least the majority of the share of the thing that they should be very caring about, they should be very careful about, is how much sales they're making, because the company is in growth stage and they have to bring in more revenue. And the other reason that actually took me longer, because I'm a technical person and it took me a long time to understand this, to get into the shoes of someone who wants to does the sales, because it was my job as a founder of the company to just make it happen. the solution was not as complicated as I thought it would be. The solution was we didn't need to, specifically, at least it worked very well for us. We didn't need to think about how we make sales happen, how we make marketing better with AI or without AI. It was about how do we, because we are helping companies create social media content. So it was all about how do we help other small businesses, other medium-sized businesses to sell. The only thing that we knew was social media and content creation, how to grow on social media, how to get more views, how to get more impressions, how to get in front, how cut through the noise, like you said, in the content world, and how to position yourself to cut through that noise, to get the attention for long enough. And the only thing that, the resistance that you were also mentioning was at the stage that every company that we went to, regardless of the fact that how content world has been developed over the years, still companies who want to do social media, I've found out that 90% of the companies, they don't do any social media apart from some random ads and promotions about their product, which is totally against social media. It is a social media. You have to be social. You have to talk to people. You have to be present there. You have to tell this story. You have to sell the story. It's the story behind it, like Gary Vee always says. The story behind the product is the one that sells, not the product itself. Product is just the outcome of the story, what you're doing, what you want, what you're trying to do. So it was, the resistance was mostly, trying to convince the companies to understand that they don't need to actually continually and push forward and be very consistent and be very hard and just doing the hard sell, doing the sales. I buy our product, do this, go to the meeting with us, sit with us, talk with us, everything. It was just about caring for them also. It should be about caring about their audience and what they want. So it was about the stories that they care about, educational content, informative content, and all of this stuff. It was, the challenge before, at least, before Bubble was they creating a lot of content that is educational for free and doing it basically forever. They needs a lot of financial backing and funds. But also, and if they wanted to do, they would rather to do something and talk about something that sells rather than go for storytelling, because storytelling is a long road, it's a long journey. So we had to convince customers that now you can create content faster. At least do not do always sales.
That's very, very interesting. I've found that storytelling really works, having a strong narrative, push your products across. I think one issue that what hasn't been brought up is actually, we've talked a lot about SMEs and how we use AI. We've talked about it. What I've actually seen is that enterprise clients is one hurdle that we often face convincing them. So there are issues of security involved. And of course, now there are products like reInvent coming out to protect their IP. It might be better. There are cybersecurity providers who can ensure there's better safety in the AI world. However, there's still a lot of education that is actually needed. And that's one of the hurdles that we actually face, trying to convince enterprises to adopt AI in their sales and marketing strategies. So quickly moving on to the last major group question. How do we keep the ROI on AI flowing? So as we increase our AI adoption, what will keep the business wheels moving for everyone here? I'm going to start again with Chris. How will AI keep your businesses growing and moving in the next year? What do you see coming up?
So you mean how will AI keep?
Where will you invest in AI, for example? Where will AI take you in your business?
For us, because we own and we invest in we take majority stake in a portfolio of companies, right? So before I invest in any AI tools, personally, actually, I take lead in all AI initiatives among all the portfolio companies. So it's a rather simple business question. So either it's about cost saving or increase revenue, right? that's what business is doing, right? So the easy question is, for cost saving, is after I put this AI solution now. I calculate all the monthly operating expenses of this solution, the cost of ownership, everything, and then I'll see if this is lower than using humans. To be honest, that's the first question. Do I generate any extra savings from that? So that's the easy part. For the sales, that's actually, again, like I mentioned before, is tricky, because sometimes if I do roll out some AI solutions for marketing, it's not that easy to do all the statistics. I'm sure this part Jackie can add more to that, but for us it's hard to calculate the ROI on the marketing side. But for sales, actually, is not too difficult, because, for example, in the past, when I look at his or her pipeline, he or she is doing 100 leads per week. Now with the AI tools, because he or she is saving a lot of time from delegating those admin stuff and routine work to AI agents. Now they're doing, for example, 150 leads per week. Then that's easy to judge, right? So this is how I look at ROI of AI solutions. It's really business oriented.
Actually, this is a very, I'll happily address the marketing ROI question, but this is a very interesting thought, because we were speaking to our investors, I think about 2 weeks ago, and what the investor actually mentioned was a lot of companies hear the word AI and they invest, and they don't actually think about the ROI involved. So I've heard of the example the investor gave me was one of his portfolio companies actually buying an AI solution and for a whole year just leaving it there, and they never implemented it, facing the human resistance that we've discussed earlier. So you asked about the marketing ROI. For us, it's actually quite simple, because we just connect it directly to sales ROI as well. By taking intent signals, if we process them directly and do effective retargeting without actually making you take any manual actions, you can actually use AI to turn, for example, what we do is website visitors directly into leads. So for I spent 10 years in SEO and content marketing, and one issue we see is the ROI can't be measured. You don't know if the sale is attributable to from the website to the actual sale itself. So what we try to solve at Lead Sourcing is we turn that lead from a website visitor directly into a lead on LinkedIn, and we pitch them automatically. So sales ROIs, basically.
Yeah, sorry, and just one more point that pops up
course.
in my mind, how to increase ROI for AI solution investment is, and actually, you need the leaders of the business to use it themselves, not on a daily basis. I mean on an hourly basis. For me, I try all the new tools myself. So I use it every hour, and then I discuss it with my CTO and CFO, etc., and push them to use it. Push them to think about it. You don't leave this key thing, AI, to your CTO, just the CTO to think about it. As the leader, all the CXO on the board, they have to use it themselves. They have to feel it so that they can talk about that in front of the employees. That's how you encourage them to use it. Once they start using it, their ROI will increase.
Very, very true. So thank you so much for that, Chris. I'm going to jump on to Hannes. So how do you look at the investments in AI and the ROI that it will likely bring for your business?
So relevant to both what you mentioned, because you look at from an ROI from a marketing angle. ROI is about return on investment, right? So the cost of running it, yes, it saves costs on human capital, but what we also uncovered is the cost of operating it from computation, from storage. So from a technical infrastructure layer, that requires more runtime. But how we are also looking at the other angle, which is, of course, is either increasing revenue or saving on costs. Revenues is all about distribution at the end of the day. Our distribution, this is why we're building IP signals, because it's introducing on open IP MCP. That means every MCP calls, we generate it like Twitter API calls. And any AI agents who consume our MCP will be able to pay it according to how many cents. It's about runtime of distribution and the amount of API calls. So with that, that's how we are balancing from looking at cost operation saving. But of course, in hindsight, the infrastructure running costs is something as any AI model company will have to consider on that. And how we're generating revenue is like how API or MCP calls are looking at that. So I hope that makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I think it's very important to look at ROI from multiple angles. We've discussed the business side of it, and now we have our operations and technical side of it. And with Aug, we get a different perspective, pre-revenue products. So how do you justify the investments in AI?
Well, I used to work in, I used to do consulting in enterprise software, so I've seen the whole like, hey, there's this thing that I'm paying a license for, is it really worth it? So I think AI is just another iteration of that. I think that's always a challenge with measuring returns on these types of technologies. But I would say that for companies that have resources, I think now is a great time for them to cultivate and grow their AI teams. And so they can look into internally and building and maybe recruiting someone like Alexander or Wilco to run a short 90-day project. A lot of times these AI systems hallucinate, so these systems need to have what we call receipts, or basically citations, and you can tie them to developing web leads or customer service calls, making sure the answers are very well grounded. So that's a challenge. So that's a nice 90-day short-term project that these orgs can do. And as a practitioner, what I'm seeing as a trend internally is building systems that can reason. So I think that's a general trend for AI products. So these AI products are really great at answering, but what we found is that when the AIs review what they've just generated, they actually do better, and isn't that crazy? And so reasoning systems that can reflect on what they've done, or maybe remember what has happened in the past, right? These are going to be much more prevalent and more powerful as these models get more powerful over time. Thank you.
Very well said. Multi-layer prompt engineering, basically, with multi-level agents. Yes. Cool. Sohan, on your end, how are you guys going to measure ROI in the coming years, and what are you going to build for us?
Absolutely. First of all, I definitely agree with Augustine. We had a pretty good talk also yesterday regarding the one-shot and multi-shot like fine-tuning of the AI, because when you move back the context of the answer to the AI to evaluate it and also you give it a like measure to understand how well it performed, it definitely does a better job at generating the best result. For us, for social media, it definitely was the case, because we always wanted to understand how well the content that we just shared works and how it turned out. It definitely was the first thing that we had to do to make sure that this AI machine can learn and can make it better, improve in the future. But as for the ROI, I believe in the age of AI, in the new era, it is very soon to measure ROI on the AI. These days, it is like very early days of AI, like maybe 2-3 years of like AI being publicly accessible. Yes, it was around from 1990s, or maybe even before that. We had some, understanding of how machine can understand. But still, as AI is becoming public, it is still very soon to understand the ROI of AI. But it is all for, I believe, it is all for like speeding up the time to get something done, to just get it, to make it better, make it faster, specifically faster, and also foster the creativity. Whenever you are you have that block in mind, you could go to AI and get some creativity, get some ideas, and go back to.
No, of course. I think that's very important. Like, AI is still young. Measuring ROI might be difficult at this stage. So I think we've heard from a lot of our speakers, different perspectives, different mentalities, walking into AI, different stages in companies, and I think we all have different ways that we can take from AI and different ways that we have to prepare for the future of AI. With that said, I think that's going to reach the end of our question sessions. I'm going to open it to the crowd to see if anyone has one or two questions that they want to fire at our panels of experts. Would anyone have any questions? If not, I'll hand the stage back to the MC. No? All right, thank you to my fellow speakers. I think the photographer is back there, so let's
Thank you.
grab for a photo. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Jackie.